You have appropriate defined boundaries. They're neither rigid or unpredictable in relationship.
Can you give your working definition of boundaries?
Boundaries? Ooh, that's a big one. That's a tough one. Boundaries are a lot around, I know what I need and want. I'm hoping that you know what you need and want. And we can not cross over those needs and wants with control, with the need to be right, which I'm going to get into, with unbridled emotion, with withdraw. So you're able to keep people in a relationship that's here and not here, right? The opposite of boundaries is enmeshment, right? I'm so close to the situation that I take on your feelings and emotions, and I might even know what you need and want before you do, right? So oftentimes we do that with children. We do know that we know what they need and want before they do, right? But eventually we try to teach them, you need to know what you need and want, and I'll let you know if you can have it. But if you are enmeshed in, let's say, a family member, then you take on the emotions and the intentions and the energy of what those other people need and want, and so you become merged with them and say like, oh, I know my mom, she's going to be mad about this. We didn't invite her to this dinner that we're having, right? And so then you fret all day about, like, you didn't ask your mom and you know she's going to be ticked off about it. Versus, hey, Mom, you know what? Sorry, you weren't invited to this. This is not a place where, you know, we really want you here. We love you, but this is not a place for you. Does that help? Yeah. Do you have any? Go, please. That great.
So I think about boundaries of being about like self-definition. So like where I know I start and I end. This is going to be really literal. Like this is my personal space bubble, and the boundary actually would be like my idea of like if somebody comes in this space. I'm
like
gonna
them right
move.
here, right? Do you ever see people who are like,
or
oh,
at the
Molly.
grocery store?
Yeah.
And if you notice, like just I'm not really even thinking about it, and I love Kristen. My body just does that naturally. I'm gonna keep moving, and that's how I maintain my boundary. So the boundary is this idea that I wanna keep this bubble, and then the action step that I do is about maintaining my safety and protection, not about controlling her behavior. So sometimes what will happen is we have this idea that boundaries are about, this is like, stay there. That's my boundary. But that I'm trying to control her behavior, and I can't do that and be relational. It is, hey, Kristen, would you stay there? And then if she comes closer, I just go, hey, I kind of need that much space to be able to hang out with you. If you keep coming closer, I'm gonna keep taking steps away. Not because I don't love you, but because I need that space. Does that make sense?
And she might even have to,
and then I might have to say, hey, Kristen, can you stop? Like I'm at the end here, I can't move anymore. So in order for me to like keep talking to you, can you stay there? And it's a question. Out of mutual respect for her, I'm not gonna demand or try to control or like become threatening. I know that's a little silly to think about, but I could be threatening. But if I do that, it's gonna harm the relationship. And then if I don't back up my boundaries, so if you came closer and I was like, hey, could you give me a little space? I'm sacrificing myself for the relationship, and that's also not okay. Does this help and make a little more sense?
It does. So if I say back, it's a pre-communicated, predetermined reaction to an unwanted action from another person.
Yes. Beautiful. So I would go, here's where my limit is, and then I'm gonna let you know if you choose to cross that limit, here's what I'm gonna do in response. I'm not trying to threaten or give you an ultimatum. I'm just saying, this is probably what I'll do if you come closer. So you're not surprised. And I feel safe. Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's hard too, like Molly, when Nicholas was coming in your space and stuff, that people learn boundaries, and then there's where she's feeling now rejected, and that's that slippery slope of how do you portray your boundaries without making them feel rejected.
And so it's often about having those when we can. Like I was thinking about the world of unicorns and butterflies, where I have talked about this with my husband before it happens, and it's like, oh, we're prepared, and that happens sometimes. But also in the moment, if we've been kind of practicing some of these some of these strategies, these 4 S's, we almost have like a shock absorber in our relationship, so that if there is that moment of I kind of do my action step and my husband's like, why are you pulling away from me? That's so embarrassing, that really hurts. I can attune to that without violating my boundary and just go, oh my gosh, I know it kind of hurt you that I scooched back a little bit, but you have a cold and I really don't want to get sick. I love you so much. Like, tell me what's going on for you when I moved back. And so we can still be connected without me violating my boundary. Or he does this sometimes. Oh, he's not here. I should go tell him I said this. But sometimes I'll say I do it. I might use my I'm hurt and rejected as an attempt to manipulate the boundary, where I'm like, oh, but come closer to me. I want to sneeze with you. Attune with my sneeze. Wouldn't it be so fun if we were both sick? Like, no. I would love for my spouse to be able to go, wow, Molly, you should really talk to Kristen and your therapist about that. But I can see that you're hurt. I scooted away from your sneeze. I love you so much. I'm not going to get closer though, because that's about maintaining my sense of safety. Does that help? It makes sense? Thanks for laughing at my joke. And I promise I will tell my husband that I almost threw him under the bus. I love it.
That's a great explanation. And I think also to your point is that sometimes with boundaries, like Josh, what you're also probably inferring to is the emotional boundary of like rejection. And 95% of the people that I have ever worked with, including myself, Tim, most of us, we have a shame message that we've grown up with. And we are very sensitive to that shame message. And so if we feel like we're going to like reject someone, or if we feel rejected, that is a personal issue that with a healthy boundary, you're okay to hurt somebody else's feelings. You're okay if mom doesn't like that you didn't invite her. You're okay that you had to say, no, after all, I can't be on this committee even though I said I was gonna. It's not because I reject you, it's because of other things. And it may be some components of you that I don't want to work with. And that then if you have a close enough relationship, you might be able to have an authentic, conversation of like, hey, I don't want you to feel rejected. I just think that it's difficult for us to work together sometimes because you take over and control all of it, and then I feel like, why am I here? Maybe you would rather have an assistant that could help you, or that's just it's about like maturity in your functional adult to be able to hopefully talk to other mature people that can handle it. There are some people that when we're talking in counseling with families and stuff, I recommend it's probably not a great idea to be authentic and honest with this person, because they're just not going to they have not done their work. They're not mature enough to be able to handle it. So when you're around them, maybe you just want to put up what we call the wall of pleasant, right? Let's just be pleasant. I'm going to be here. I'm going to interact with you. I'm going to be civil. I'm going to be kind, but I'm going to hold my boundary so you don't know me beyond this point.
Love that.
Yeah.
I have one more kind of aha moment. I should probably book a session, but that's fine. I tend to take on people's feelings and emotions very easily.
Yeah.
And so I just had this moment of, I try to anticipate what Mike's feeling, and then I try to meet that need before he even expresses it to me.
Yes.
And my kids and my coworkers, and then I'm exhausted, and I just realized that part of that is I have to set my boundaries, but I also have to let them have their boundaries, because I'm really crossing those boundaries when I'm trying to meet their needs before they've expressed them to me.
Yes.
And so, light bulb.
Way to go. You said that so well.
That's really beautiful.
Said that really well. And we work a lot with people with that exact same notion. And oftentimes it's women because we're helpers, right? We like to nurture, we like to help, we like to step in. Men have a helping personality too, a lot of you. My husband happens to be one. It's a wonderful quality. I'm so thankful for it. But sometimes I have to say, you know what? I don't need that. Thanks for offering. And he's gotten really good at asking, like, you know, do you want my help with this? Versus, let me help you with this. Right? There's a difference. And it's great, Cheryl, because it's all about all of us having our own autonomy. Right? As people, we want our own autonomy. We want to be able to know what we need and want, and without imposing that on other people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great question, Josh. Opened up some good communication. Thanks. Okay, so safety. I've got this. I feel safe and secure in this relationship. You're empowered to explore and discover and move into your own world. I think that's just a huge aspect of feeling safe in the relationship, right? Of being able to take healthy risks as an individual and encourage your spouse to take healthy risks so that they can bloom and really be an expression of who God is through their own personality, through their own pursuits and passions and callings. I always say, you know, for me, my passion and my purpose was raising kids. I loved that. It was one of the best parts of my life. But my calling was to be a therapist and to have some purpose outside. And when I embarked on that journey and went back to school, that was something that Tim really supported me in. And he was just like my cheerleader all the way. And, you know, hey, we'll make sacrifices for you. We'll carve out time. I'll take the kids on Sundays to church while you're doing your internship at Calvary, and just very supportive. And as likewise, when he wanted to embark and buy the assets to Training to You, the computer training company that he owned, there was a lot of things as an entrepreneur that I was not down for. But that one, the Lord had a release, and I was like, do it, buy the assets, let's go for it. And so, you know, it's that communication, that ability to come together, find the mind of the Lord together, and see, you know, if you're both feeling it and you feel that energy, like support each other, bring out the best in each other. Let your partner know, like, you've got their back and you're with them. Women really need the sense of safety and security. Men do too, but women, we are really built for and need that sense of safety, security. So the last one is secure, which says, love has me. You're seen, soothed, and safe, which causes you to turn naturally to your partner without worrying over whether you'll get what you need, and or that your needs won't at least be considered and talked about. Your needs are met without shame. You can try new things and make mistakes without fear or shame. And you know that you can relax in the strength of the goodness of your partner, right? Your partner brings a strength to the relationship, a way of supporting you like nobody else can do on the earth for you. And just be there as your partner, your best friend, your lover, your person that you can count on, right? Any other questions about secure attachment?
Can you kind of speak to some of the evolutions over time? I think that's something that's, you've been married longer, realizing we're changing as people.
Yeah.
We haven't either tuned into our own or tuning into my partner and what her changing needs or wants might be.
Yeah.
How do we do this over time?
Yeah, so the question was about changing needs over time and going through that growth, developmental growth stage. Is that what you mean? Like going through that developmental growth stage that we go through, you know, decades really. And oftentimes it is kind of broken up to some degree in decades, right? The first 10, establishing marriage, family, all of that. And then the next stage, I know for us, the second decade was a lot about my personal growth and development. Really in the around 40, you're kind of in the kingdom stage where you are, men are establishing their kingdom and women are coming in as the queens to help establish that kingdom, and you are building your kingdom together, right? And so that growth and development can be, like any growth and development, can be kind of painful, right? If you think about your kids when they are growing, they literally have growth pain and stuff. And so being able to be attuned, I knew, like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do for quite some time, right? I knew I wanted to do something, and I knew I was kind of cut out in this way that God ended up leading me into. But, it was a lot of prayer. It was a lot of being together and supportive of, like, the timing, and working through just talking about struggles. And a lot of times women tend to, especially if they've stayed home, get a little bit lost in that stage of, like, kids and then potentially wanting to do something different. I mean, I think it's wonderful for moms to stay home as long as they want. I've had moms, best friends, that are never, picked up going to work. I have many others who have juggled motherhood, working, and all of that. And I think it's a lot about communication and just prayer and being together in that. Is that helpful? Do you have another question a little deeper than that?
You hit on the part I probably should clarify, is those phases where it's kind of more important. It seems like if you're having kids, it revolves somewhere around that, or maybe career phases, but there are more stressful times in life, I guess maybe you dig more into this. So what your point is that it's more important to be in tune with your attachment style and your partners.
Yes. I think so. I mean, I think that, okay, so he was asking just about the different phases of marriage and just development with kids and careers and staying attuned. I love that word, staying attuned. Did you have something to add?
Well, and I may have misunderstood the question, but this kind of idea of, like,
Speak up.
how do you keep kind of doing this, recognizing that you and your spouse are going to change? And so what might have felt, I might be too literal in this, but, like, what might have felt soothing and comforting doesn't feel soothing and comforting anymore. What felt reassuring and encouraging doesn't feel reassuring and encouraging anymore. And how do we be as flexible with our assumptions about our partner so that I can try and be like, oh, I know after a really long day, my husband loves if we go out to dinner. And so I'm like, I already got the keys, let's go. And he's like, that's like the last thing I want to do. And so when I can, I'm going to work on finding a conduit to some of those qualities in me so I can get curious maybe and go, like, oh wow, like, so, like, what happened today? Like, usually you love going, like, I know you had a rough day, but usually, like, what you want the most is to go out, and that's changing for you. Like, tell me more, instead of, like, no dude, like, I'm not wrong. Oh, you love this. Come on. This is going to make your day better. I have to kind of tap into some humility and get curious about how my partner's changing. And that ends up leading me back to some of these 4 S's of, like, okay, I'm seeing him in a different light. How can I do that? And be, again, willing to take some of those risks. Does that make sense, and is that helpful? Cool.
Awesome. Good question.